Okay. G'day, everyone, and welcome to the JBH Show, also known as the Just Another Bloke with a podcast. And today with me, I have real estate agent, MMA fighter, all-round good bloke, Matt Ward. And you were saying just before that you hate real estate agents.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Do you want to start there?
Sure, fire away, Captain. I can't stand the industry that we're in.
Why?
I don't know. I don't like an industry that is based around. It's very similar to how I picture politicians to be.
Yeah.
Instead of showing what I can do better, let's just belittle you and make your good things look worse.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Okay. So just the general vibe of the industry, you seem to think that there's a majority of real estate agents that are doing the wrong thing, or?
I'd say 80%.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's a hot take. It's a hot take.
But it is a hot take.
I have it, I've always said it.
Yeah.
I got into real estate because when I bought my first house, it was like a interesting experience. And I was like, I don't want that to happen to other, 20-year-olds that
Yeah, of course.
don't know what they're doing.
Because they don't know anything.
Correct.
100%. I had a very similar experience when I bought my first house. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, and I had a few months of real estate experience as well. So it was like, yeah, how is anybody that doesn't have any industry knowledge going to do well? So
It's like that pressure.
yeah,
Being a buyer sitting on that side, you're like, the pressure's real.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden you fall in love with a home.
Mm.
And I bought it with my now wife, and we're like, yep, we need this house.
Yeah.
It needs to be. And we ended up negotiating against ourselves.
yeah,
Just because we didn't know what was going on. Which, I mean, all good and well, the vendor got more money, but it's still just tedious,
So you had that poor experience,
Mm.
and then you wanted to jump into the industry.
Mhm.
Go through that for me.
I don't know. It was just
Just wanted to fix it.
yeah, I was just I don't like that sort of, pressure being put on younger people.
Yeah,
I've grew up playing footy and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of the people I'm selling homes to now or selling homes for, I've kind of grown up with and played footy with, sports with, all that fun stuff. So just trying to make sure they don't go through that same experience is kind of the whole reason why I was like, all right, well, this is kind of an industry that I'll fit into. Plus, I can talk a lot.
yeah.
So it kind of fits.
Well, that's why you're on a podcast.
Yeah,
So
well, supposedly. And how I got into real estate was the weirdest thing ever.
Yeah.
I was working at a drive-through coffee shop. No word of a lie. I was studying animal science at uni.
Yep.
And then I just served this guy constantly. And then he offered me a job on reception. And I was like, yeah, I like making money.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to make money. So I did. And yeah, I worked 3 days a week, Monday to Wednesday. And I still worked at the cafe. And then I had night shift up in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Where I would labour at night. So I was trying to earn as much money as possible.
Yeah.
And then, just kind of fell into that and stayed there. And that was 8 years ago now.
Yeah, right.
So it's a while.
And what were you doing on night shift? Just a labourer in construction or? Yeah.
Construction. Just,
Awesome.
man, my hands are that soft. I'm getting blisters at the thought of manual labour. But I seriously was just anything for money.
Yeah.
Just anything.
Yeah,
Not
right.
anything, but you know what I mean.
And did you have the tattoos when you got into real estate?
Yeah.
And how was that?
Oh, there were so many people that were like, nah, not going to cut it.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first started, one of the market leaders in the area openly had a meeting with all their staff and all this sort of stuff. And they're like, that's all right. He's just the flavour of the month. He'll be gone in, 6 months. It is what it is. And then I think within 3 months, they were contacting me, offering me a job.
Yeah, right.
I was like, why?
Flavour of the month.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a big month.
Because you are quite painted. I saw you in your fight. You've got quite a lot of tattoos. When did that start?
I got 90% of my tattoos from 17 to 19.
Yeah.
That was me done.
Yeah, right.
I hate getting tattooed now.
Yeah.
Every day older that I get is another 10 years worth of pain that it feels. It hurts so much.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I hate getting tattooed.
So do you regret the tattoos? Or?
Not in the slightest.
No. Okay. It's just more that you don't want to do it again because the pain lasts longer.
I kind of wish that I got everything finished.
Yeah, right.
I've got, my stomach started, my back's 90% done.
Yeah.
My ribs are fully outlined, ready to finish one more session. I've got so many that I need to kind of piece together. But then I see cool things on Instagram and I'm like, I want that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm booked in to get my leg done in 2 weeks.
Yeah, awesome. So it's still something that happens fairly often is you get updated. And...
Not as often as you would think, actually. Yeah. I don't think, when was the last time I got tattooed? Probably 6 months ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Very, very rarely do I get tattooed now.
Yeah.
But Instagram is just such a
Those reels, man. Those
Yeah,
reels that just pop up and then it's like, oh, I
That's
want
terrible.
that. Yeah.
You're just like, oh, yep, that's cool.
Yeah.
Screenshot that.
Well, I share reels with my partner, and she's constantly questioning, okay, so your algorithm is like now home improvement, because I'm sending her like a bunch of home improvement reels that are like, doing special hidden doors and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we could do this. We never do.
No,
But,
never.
It's nice to think about.
It's cool, but like reels can get you in a lot of trouble, especially when it's like home improvements.
Oh, yeah.
Because you think you're like
I can do that.
Tim Allen from Home Improvement. That man in the 90s, that man in the 90s was the king. He could do it all.
100%.
Now, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do that at the moment. It was my daughter's second birthday last week.
Yep.
And my wife and I bought her a trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
It lasted one day.
Yeah.
I put it up. Took me 4 hours to put this trampoline up. We're all inside having dinner. And all of a sudden we heard this big crash. I'm like, what was that? The wind had picked it up.
Oh, no.
And threw it straight into the back of my house.
Yeah, right.
So it smashed into the back of the home. And
Is the house okay? Because it's a new house.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That house is okay, but the trampoline's cactus.
It's cooked. That's the trampoline that you were lifting the other day on your story.
No. That was the new one that I got. So I had to go yesterday to get a new one.
Yeah.
Because my daughter, being 2,
Yeah.
is like, Daddy, I want my trampoline back. I'm like, it's kind of still there, but you just can't jump on it.
Mm.
So right now it's just kind of like the dogs lay under it.
Yeah, right.
It's doing nothing.
Yeah, so for context, on his story, he posted never skip leg day, and it's him lifting up the whole trampoline by himself on his shoulders, like doing a squat or something. So
it hurt.
Yeah, they're
Like,
heavy.
And I've got like really sore traps today from it just sitting on my shoulders. Like this trampoline was too big for the trailer.
Yeah.
Like we drove it from Lara to Teesdale yesterday, and no word of a lie, it was a dicey drive.
Yeah, right.
It was a dicey drive. But we got there.
Got there.
Now I've got a happy daughter again.
Nice. I feel like that's definitely one of your motivations. So what else motivates you to be, across all the industries that you're in? You're in the fighting, you're in real estate, you're also a mental health advocate on Instagram. What motivates you? What drives you?
Above everything else, my wife and daughter.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Like if you had said to me, all right, describe yourself, I would say above absolutely everything else, I'm a husband, I'm a father first.
Yeah.
Everything else is just kind of
secondary,
a mechanism to help everything that we want to do together.
Yeah.
My wife, I've lived with her since I was 16.
Yeah.
So I moved, 17. She was 16. I kind of like moved in with her. We have this running gag. I just never left.
Yeah.
It's kind of true.
Yeah.
Each like night I would stay over, another little suitcase of clothes would kind of follow me, and they never left.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was 17, now 29. So it's been that long.
Yeah, right.
And then like I said, we've got a 2-year-old daughter. So
yeah,
everything is just for them too.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then hopefully there's, another 3, 4, who knows how many kids coming along.
Yeah, right.
Down the track.
Big family then.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
I'm an advocate for a big family. Love
Yeah.
big families.
It's wild because like my wife and I used to be talking like, oh no, we want to be rich. We want to like travel the world.
Mm.
And then we had Maeve and we're like, why did we ever think anything other than we need children? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like I sound like such an old person right now, but like 29 and like, oh yeah, everyone go have kids. It's like, no. But like it is unbelievable.
Yeah. No,
It
100%.
just changes your whole life. And
Awesome.
for the better, of course.
Awesome.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
And so with work-life balance, obviously you're a director of the agency that you're at. You're able to control your hours really well. Is there a particular routine that you follow, or is it just sort of as it comes, you make time?
This is another little thing. Like I always made the common misconception with real estate is, well, it's not really. A lot of people do follow this to the T, that you're going to have to write off your life. Like if you don't work 7 days, 24/7, like you're cactus.
Yeah, and as soon as your phone goes off, you've got to answer it.
Yeah,
and
yeah. And from the start, I always made a conscious effort to be like, no, I'm going to make real estate fit into my current life and then fit into my evolving life and schedule.
Yeah.
I always played footy. So a lot of agents work till 2, 3, 4 o'clock on a Saturday.
No time.
I always said, no, it's not happening. I'll get up early. I'll start my opens early. I'll finish at, say, 11, 11:30.
Yep.
I'll go to footy, and then I'll do opens on a Sunday instead. Now, when I got into real estate 8 years ago, no one was like, Sundays? No, that's like, no way. And I'm like, why? What? Why?
Some people can't do Saturday.
Yeah, that was the whole thing that I was like, well, how many people play sport on Saturday like I want to do and I'm going to do and want to buy a home?
Correct.
Like they can't see it. So why not?
And they're not going to
Sundays?
change their regular routine to go and check out a house that they may not get. So
No, of course, it was the exact thing. And like, I'm even to that point now where like, obviously training in MMA and fighting and stuff, I've got a fight booked for May, the 2nd of May.
exciting.
That'll be fun,
Good.
yes.
I'll be there.
Yes, of course. And that'll be my 5th fight in just on 12 months.
Yeah.
So the workload that comes with that it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Especially like the eating and all that sort of stuff to cut weight, to
Yeah,
make
so
weight.
run through what that process is. Obviously, you book the fight 1st.
Mm-hmm.
What's the planning around diet and workouts and all that stuff? How does that? Do you have a system? Is it something that you work with a trainer on?
Yes.
And they decide everything, or is it just you know what you're doing?
Yes to all of the above.
Okay, cool.
So it's kind of fits into real estate too. Like if you're not structured and don't have everything planned out, you're not going to
you can
make
fall
it.
apart. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Like I have not a big chunk of weight to lose. I'm kind of a short fella.
Yep.
But my first fight was at 84 kilos.
Yep.
And I was coming down from 102.
Yeah, right.
So I was a little chunker.
Far out.
Yeah, I was a big boy.
Mm.
So that was like Christmas 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So 18 months ago. It was wild.
There you go.
Now I walk around 82-ish kilos and I fight at 70 to 74 kilos.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to run you through it, like right now we're basically 5.5, 6 weeks out from the next fight.
Yeah.
So it's more about, for the next 2 to 3 weeks, it's more about staying the calories at about 2,100, which some people that's a lot, some people it's not. For me, it's like a sweet spot.
Yep.
I've still got plenty of energy come training sessions and all that fun stuff.
Yep.
And then about 2 weeks out, I'll start to cut down that little bit to maybe 1,900. Try get to, my next fight's at 70 kilos. So I'm going to try get to as close as 77 kilos for the 5 to 6 days prior to that.
Yep.
So diet down to hopefully 77, 78.
Yep.
And then fight week starts on the Sunday, which is, my routine's different. Some people have it, you know, it varies.
Yeah.
Mine is 7 liters of water a day, 1,600 calories of food on the Monday. Tuesday is essentially the exact same, but carbs come down.
Yep.
So I'm only having 50 grams of carbs and they're lighter. Then Wednesday, it's the exact same, 50 grams of carbs, still that 7 liters of water, 1,600 calories, but then we're also cutting sodium. So now my sodium's no more than 750 milligrams a day.
Yep.
And for anyone that doesn't understand how much sodium's in everything, you don't know how much sodium's in things until you can't have that much sodium.
Yeah. And what's the purpose of cutting sodium?
So sodium holds onto water in the body.
Gotcha.
So, pardon me, my goal is to strip all that water out of my body.
Yeah.
It's 7 kilos in 5 days.
Yeah.
It's not a real 7 kilos. It is just 7
water
kilos
weight.
of water. Correct. So you supersaturate your muscles, tell your body that this is what you're going to be doing every day. So then you excrete water like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then on the Thursday, depends if the weigh-in's Friday, on the Thursday, so the day before, you basically cut it to 600 mil.
Yep.
And your calories stop at 5 o'clock. You've got no sodium, no carbs, nothing basically.
Yeah.
And then the next day is the day of weigh-ins.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, normally I'm 2 to 3 kilos off where I need to be. That's where I'll get in the sauna, 20 minutes in the sauna, then 20 minutes wrapped up like a burrito with towels, and then 20 minutes rest. So you've got an hour cycle.
Yeah.
And you do 2 or 3 of them, and normally that's your 3 to 4 kilos gone. But on that day, there's no food, there's no water.
No.
Some people get like a tea towel wrapped with ice, and they'll just chew it.
Yeah.
That tells your body that you're
doing
resting.
something. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. It tells your body you're doing stuff. You're not. You're just wetting your mouth. But yeah, some people even go to the full extreme of like, oh, we can't even shower after we've cut the weight because I don't want it to seep
Stoke in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always been like, I
How
don't
much
want
water
to go
weight
to
are you going to pick up in
Yeah,
the shower?
I don't even know if that's true. Like, it might be. I'm no expert, but
Yeah.
I've got a dietitian. I follow what he tells me to do. So
Yeah.
this will be my 5th one with him.
Awesome.
And like I said, he's done it for me easily every time.
And have you've never not met weight?
No.
So how many fights have you had?
4.
Yeah. And how many people are in the team? You've got a trainer, you've got a dietitian.
So my dietitian's all online. So
Yep.
he is in the UK.
Yep.
So I do everything with him remotely via Instagram and all that fun stuff.
Awesome.
At the gym, I've got my main coach, which is Jordan, then another coach, which is Matt. He's the owner of the gym as well. And then I've got like my training partners and stuff like that. So there's probably on the MMA fight team, 10 to 11 fighters.
Yeah.
And like we're getting the work in Monday to Friday.
Awesome.
Get it in.
So it's an everyday training
Yeah.
regimen. Yeah. And is that just for fight camp or is that in general you just typically
I
do it
try to
after
do
work?
it. I try only do the Monday to Friday for camp, like for
Yep.
fight camp.
Yep.
Outside of that, I'll do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is footy training.
Yep.
Thursday is
So
training.
you're still keeping up with both sports.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And do you not fear the risk? Are you doing, you don't do footy in fight camp?
No.
No.
No. So I played footy on Saturday, just gone. Played 6 quarters, and I played all 6 quarters, and I'm here today and going to the gym tonight.
Yeah.
Like, went to the gym again yesterday. Like,
Yeah.
I find a way to make it work.
Of course. But if there's like an injury, because footy, you know, can be pretty injury prone, obviously
Yeah.
you wouldn't want that happening during your fight camp.
Nah, if I was probably closer than 6 weeks, like I would say probably 4 weeks out
Yeah.
is a sweet spot.
Yeah.
So I'll if there was a pracky match or game next week, I'd still play. But then after that, it's kind of like, okay, I got to lock back into this MMA training for
Gotcha.
that time being. So
Yeah.
MMA outside of camp is just Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. That's
Yep.
what I do. Some people, even outside of camp, train six days.
Mm.
I don't want to do that because I know how much in camp I'm away from my wife and daughter. So I'm
Of
like,
course. There's a family element to it.
yeah. And like my wife and daughter come to my fights. Like
Nice.
a lot of people are like, why you got a 2-year-old at an MMA fight? It's
So
like,
she learns.
yeah,
She's
exactly.
going to be world
She's
champ.
going to be a killer. It's crazy because like my wife was the biggest hater of that sport.
Yeah, right.
She used to like I've been wanting to fight for years,
Yeah.
years, and she's like, "No way! Like it's barbaric. It's this, that, the other, and you're just gonna get hurt."
Yeah.
And then she came to my first fight just on 12 months ago, and she's like, "This is nothing like I expected it to
Correct.
be." And I'm like, "I know. Like everything is so well governed that
Yeah.
it is. It's a sport. It's mental chess. Like
Yeah.
you're trying to throw something out there so that your opponent does something in return, so that then you can do something in return to that return, if that makes much sense.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. You
it's-
feel them out and see what they're gonna, how they're gonna react,
yeah, it's wild.
and then you can capitalize on it. So
And-
there's a lot of thought process that goes into
Yeah.
the fight.
And keep in mind, I'm like bottom of the barrel here. Like I'm just amateur leagues, just fighting for fun.
Yeah.
There's some people that are like Karush from my gym.
Yeah.
He's a scary dude.
Yeah.
He's just turned 18. He's like 4 or 5-0. Never lost
Oh my god.
in MMA. Never lost in kickboxing. Never lost in boxing. He's
Yeah.
an animal. This kid.
And he's one of those 6 days a week guys
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Far out.
Yeah, and then I rock up at the gym on a Monday knowing that I'm sparring him, and I just look at him and he's like taller than me, and I'm just like, here we go again.
Yeah.
It's
This is gonna hurt.
yeah, this is gonna be an interesting experience.
Yeah. 100%.
I think that like iron sharpens iron. Like if you want to get better, you've got to do that sort of
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, it's you got to play the chess master to get better at chess. It's
Yeah.
definitely that approach.
He's the chess master.
Yeah. Right. So you've had 4 fights.
Mm-hmm.
Who was your favorite person to fight?
Do you know what? The last opponent, his name is Isaac Lekis.
Yeah.
I lost,
Yeah.
but that dude was the most respectful, most down to earth person, and that's what that's what it's all about.
Well, that was something that I noticed because I was ringside.
Yes.
It was great. I was going with some mates, and I got the text before I rocked up. I've upgraded to sort of ringside. I'm just like, you're a legend.
Yeah, that's what you want.
It's so good. So watching the fight, and then immediately afterwards, you were both all shaking hands and
Yeah.
talking, and it seemed really genuine, that
Yeah.
interaction. So that was all real.
Yeah, and like we're still talking now.
Yeah.
like, back and forth. Like he lives up in Sydney.
Yeah.
I obviously don't live in Sydney. I live in Geelong.
Yeah.
So there's a fair
Distance.
yeah.
Mm.
But that's what I think is like the biggest thing that changed my wife's perception on it all as well. Apart from one opponent that I've had, every other person I still keep in contact with now.
Yeah.
We still talk about how like their fight career is going, how my fight career is going, what's working for us, what's not working for us. Like it's creating new friendships, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there's like a weird stat about marathons, and it's like less than, I think, 2% of the population ever run a marathon. Think about how small that percentage is that ever fight in a cage.
Yeah.
It's a lot less than 2% of
It would be,
the
yeah.
population.
100%.
So if you get in there, you make the weight, you make that walk, there's got to be a sense of respect earned instantly. And then whatever happens in that next 3-minute round times 3, 9 minutes is, it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there is a really strong culture of respect in the fight game because, again, at your fight, I was watching the people that were coming into the ring and there was a lot of them that stopped and they'd pray or they'd do, something, or they'd, touch the ground, or they'd do their thing, the superstitious bunch, I'm guessing.
Yep.
And then they'd step into the ring and then it was game on.
Yep.
What's your preparation for stepping into the ring?
Mine's embarrassing.
Yeah?
Like, people hate it.
Yeah.
Like, my coaches are like, how do you do this? I'm sitting out the back singing. I'm sitting out the back dancing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to treat it as if it's like a game of footy.
Yeah.
Not a grand final.
Yeah.
So each week you play football, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But if you go out there and actually finish that fight, regardless of if you've won or lost, but you find something that you've picked up in your own game,
You've learned something.
of course. That saying you win or you learn, I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And then my first fight, I lost. And I learned so much more in that than I did in my next fight that I won.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like my preparation is like, okay, what do I want to focus on for the next 9 minutes?
Yeah.
What do I want to try eliminate my opponent from being able to do? And then what do I want to be able to do myself?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what my whole mindset is going in.
So with Lekas, what was the thing that you were trying to take away from him?
So I knew that he was tall.
Mm.
I knew that he was rangier than me. Like I said, I'm short.
Yeah.
I knew that he was a really good kickboxer. So my game plan was wait until he overthrew a shot so that I could get underneath and take him to the ground and grind him out.
Yeah.
I saw in one of his previous fights, he was stuck on the bottom for a long time and the person that he was fighting was like able to take advantage of that and grind out the fight and win quite convincingly over 3 rounds, but from doing the same thing every round.
Getting him on the ground.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, that's what my key to victory is going to be.
Yeah.
But the thing that I learnt from this fight was my game plan when I step into the cage needs to be my game plan from the start.
Of course.
This fight even just gone, I walked in there and I was like, okay, am I going to strike? Am I going to grapple? Now, I knew I was meant to grapple, but I was like, oh, I'm just going to strike. So I got caught on the back foot.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, he's throwing bombs at me and I'm like, oh, well, now I've got to kind of switch on.
Yeah.
So I think for this next fight, it's more, right, this is my game plan. I know what I'm aiming to do.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about him.
Yeah.
Worry about what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of like the way I try to plan each fight and the next fight especially.
And so when you're going up against an opponent, you'll obviously go back through all of their previous fights and learn their strategies and their strikes and that sort of stuff. So have you done that already or is it still early days?
So the next dude that I'm booked to compete against, he's only had 2 MMA fights. So I've obviously had 4. So hypothetically speaking, my experience is a little bit more than him.
Yeah.
But he's a really strong grappler.
Yeah.
Like he's really good at jiu-jitsu. So I think he's nearly undefeated in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, right.
Which it's not easy to do.
No.
So which kind of throws my game plan all over the place because I want to wrestle and stay on top of him and kind of grind him out.
Yeah.
Whereas I've watched his fights and the first fight, he won in 15 seconds via a submission from the bottom.
Yeah, right.
So the guy took him down and then he choked him out.
So he likes it on the ground.
Yeah, which is where I want to be.
Yeah.
So it's like, in my head, I'm like, okay, but the same thing, I just need to not deviate from my plan.
Yeah.
Because in the second fight that he had, he lost. And the same thing happened. He got taken down. And what I found is the next opponent that he fought didn't give him any space. So he didn't give him any space to get his jiu-jitsu off. So all of a sudden, instead of him being able to swivel his hips underneath, grab an arm, grab a neck, whatever,
room to move.
He couldn't.
Yeah.
So he got stuck on his back the whole 3 rounds and he ended up losing a decision.
Yeah, right.
So I'm hoping that's kind of my key to victory in the next one.
Awesome.
Hopefully.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And Mike Tyson said it best. Everyone's got a game plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden it goes out the window.
Yeah, and then you bite someone's ear off.
Yeah, well, I'm aiming not to do that. Although MMA fighters' ears are horrible. Look,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to bite, like mine even's like all cactus and stuff. You wouldn't want to bite that.
Yeah, no, fair
It'd
enough.
be tough. You wouldn't get through it.
So do you obviously watch UFC, do you watch many of the boxing fights? Are you a cross-disciplinary viewer or is it just UFC?
I'm predominantly MMA. Like,
Yeah.
even with training, I don't like when it's individualized. Like, I don't like going to just a boxing class and boxing. I don't like going just to jiu-jitsu and doing just jiu-jitsu. I like when it's all together.
Yeah.
Like, I'll even train jiu-jitsu in my MMA gloves.
Yeah.
Because what I'm there to learn and get out of it is the grips are different in gloves.
Yeah.
The movement, the mechanisms are different based on me wanting to do MMA.
Yeah. It's
So-
adding to your game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the main things I've learned in the last 6 months is you need to train as if you're fighting every week.
Yeah.
Because then you'll learn what you need to get out of that week
Mm.
to then come into the weekend with. So it's like footy. You wouldn't play a game of footy in runners. So why are you training in runners?
Yeah,
You're
right.
not. You're training in footy boots.
Yeah.
Same sort of gist.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is your inspiration in MMA? Do you have somebody that you are like, that's the guy that inspired you to get into the sport?
It
or-
used to be Conor McGregor. Then he went all nuts.
Yeah.
He lost his mind.
What do you mean? I haven't been following him.
That's a good thing.
Okay.
So
He's launched his own whiskey. How dare he?
yeah, now he's been kicked out of that.
Yeah, right.
He's just wild. Like,
Yeah.
I think he went away. If you watch the evolution of Conor McGregor from the start to the last 5 years, even
Yeah.
the Khabib fight. Actually, I lie. It was the Khabib fight, which was probably 6 or 7 years ago now.
Really? That far back now?
Yeah, I know.
Far out.
It goes quick.
It
hey?
does go quick.
But the whole thing was he would go out there, speak some of the most outlandish things you've ever heard.
Yeah. You'll do nothing.
Yeah. And then it would come to fruition what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He would win the fight, but as soon as he would win, he'd be the first person to go over, lift up his opponent, and talk to him respectfully again.
Yeah.
That went out the window at the Khabib fight. Like, they had the full
They got in his
brawl.
head.
Yeah.
Because his crew were like jumping into the ring and
Yeah.
Khabib's crew were like
Yes.
in the ring having a go at him.
Yeah, one of those dudes is now the lightweight champion of the world,
Yeah.
Islam Makhachev.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's crazy.
So they're kind of tough guys. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, it was crazy because it like threw out my mentality of that man. Like, he was the
So
pinnacle.
respectful.
Yeah. And like I said, everything I do in MMA is for the respect side of things. I
Yeah.
like being able to speak to the opponent after the fight. And he just kind of threw that out the window quickly.
Mm.
And it was wild.
And do you reckon that's because Khabib got in his head?
No, I think that money got in his head.
Yeah, right.
He earned so much money that all of a sudden he didn't care what he said. He didn't care who he said it to.
Mm.
And he didn't care about the repercussions of what he was doing.
Yeah.
I'm waking up and I got 50 mil in the bank from fighting Floyd Mayweather. Who cares? Who cares?
Mm.
So yeah, Joe Rogan has it. He says that he's got FU money. He
Yeah.
doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's got that much money. He just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He
He's
can do
lost
what
sight
he
of who he was.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so yeah, Connor was the main person that got me into it.
Yeah.
But yeah, now I just kind of like
Can't
the
see
sport
it.
in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who else is now a good role model in the sport, do you think, that replaces Connor?
Alex Pereira,
Yeah.
he'll fight anyone at any time.
Yeah.
Yuri Prohaska, same sort of deal. He's more about like the martial arts side of things.
Mm.
Like,
Very
he's
technical.
He's a weird dude though.
Yeah.
Like, he locks himself in a cabin by himself, pitch black, no nothing, and just sits there in his own thoughts before his fights.
Mm.
Strange dude.
Yeah.
But I mean, each and everyone, if it works for him,
Hey, if you're comfortable in your own thoughts,
exactly.
you may as well.
Yeah. But like, I think that's a great example of like why I do MMA. The certain thing is like, for that 9 minutes that you're in the cage, everything else disappears.
Yeah.
There is no what bills have I got to pay this week.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is no what's for dinner tonight. There is no, stresses of work, of life, because it's literally you are in there to compete against someone else
Yeah.
that is trying to take your head off.
Yeah.
There is no way to sugarcoat that.
And how do you mentally prepare for that? Like, that's got to be fairly intimidating, especially if it's, someone who's bigger than you and stronger than you and has more reach than you.
I'll tell you right now how I mentally prepare for that. There is some things that have happened in my life that are a lot heavier
Yeah.
than ever getting into the cage and fighting against another person's ever going to be.
Right.
That moment that I'm in the cage is like a moment of peace for me, if that
Yeah.
makes much sense.
Release.
Yeah. So, like, perfect, like losing my nephew when he was 11.
Yeah.
Like, that sort of stuff is a daily struggle.
Yeah.
But when you're in the cage, you know that that's going to disappear for that slight. It's not going to disappear, but it's going to take a backward step for that slight period of time.
Yeah.
That I'm in there with that person.
Because for the next 9 minutes, it's fight or flight.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Someone's trying to take your head off.
yeah, and it happens quickly.
Yeah.
It happens very quickly.
Well, some people just like cross the middle of the ring
And it's on.
very, very quickly. The octagon, sorry.
Yeah, the octagon.
And all of a sudden they're in your face.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, just does that few seconds just like go slow mo for you, or is it very much okay? We're on. It's very.
That's the only part of the fight that I'm anxious for.
Yeah.
Not the walkout, not the warm up out the back,
No.
but when you're standing in the cage and the MC is announcing your name and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
That's when it really sinks in. There's no one else in this cage right now.
Yep. The door's
except for-
closed.
The door's shut.
Yep.
It is you,
Locked it.
your opponent, and the person that is there to save your life should things go south.
Yep.
That's it.
Mm.
There's no friends and family there.
No.
There's no home loan interest rates dropping to save you. Like, it's on. It is on.
Yeah.
So it's wild,
Mm.
but I love it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the main.
So it's the most anxious part of the fight, but it's
Yeah.
also like when the most excitement's present.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why a lot of people go through the adrenaline dump.
Mm.
Like first 30 seconds into a fight, you'll see people go crazy, and then
And
they're
then-
nothing.
They panic.
They just disappear.
Yeah.
They shut down.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing I was stressed about.
Yeah.
And now it's just kind of doesn't even pass my brain. It's
Mm.
like, oh yeah, whatever.
Mm.
I just know that that's the most stressful part though. As soon as they're announcing your name, you're looking over at the cage to your opponent, and that's it.
Mm.
It's like, oh, here we go again.
Yep.
Yeah.
This could hurt.
No, it's not this could. This is going
this
to
is going to hurt.
It's just to what extent is this going to hurt?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the brutal side of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome.
I love it.
And is there is it something that you're going to continue with and try and make yourself professional? Is it something that you want to push on with,
Do you know what? I don't even care.
or are you just happy?
I said this to my wife the other day. I have never had such stable mental health as I do right at this exact moment.
Yeah.
Like right at this exact moment. Like, keep in mind, it is Monday, 9:30
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, the busiest time for a real estate agent right now
Yeah.
is Monday mornings, 9:00.
And your phone's off, hopefully.
It is off. I have no stress in the world right now.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I have stress, but
Yeah.
I've got mechanisms to put it in the back burner
course.
for the time being.
Well, this was something that was very surprising to me because it was like, the studio's open at this time. Would you be able to make it? And you're just like, yeah.
That's it.
Zero
I
like
told you.
stress. It was just there.
When
sure.
I first got into real estate, I said the same thing. I'm going to make real estate fit into my life.
Yeah.
Not me fit
Not
into
the other
real
way around.
estate. No. So that's the whole thing. Like, I've always been big on ways to find outlets and what you can do to increase your own mental health and all
Yeah.
that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, MMA for me, even training it, doesn't matter about if you're fighting or not, but training it has been the biggest changer for that.
Yeah.
Like, I've never felt better than I do now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do you think that's because of overall health and fitness, or were you always pretty fit?
Oh, I was 102 kilos and I'm 5'9".
Yeah, but you play footy, so you know
Yeah.
there's a level of activity.
Yeah, but I was rolling on the oval.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
I was a big boy.
It's all right when someone bumps you bounce. It's good.
No, they bounce. I was like a yoga ball. Like, no, I don't know. Like, I think that now more than ever, my eating's on point.
Yeah.
The physical exercise is more structured. It's not just, all right, let's just go to the gym for 45 minutes and see what we can do.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, no, we're working on specific things
Yeah.
each day. So I think the things that have assisted in the mental health side of things, structure and discipline being the two things,
Of course.
but then also that outlet to know, okay, while I'm here for this period of time, all the external issues of the world stay at the door.
Yeah.
I've entered the gym now. I've entered the cage. I've entered wherever I am.
Yeah.
I'm being right here. Like, I even got like stay here tattooed on my palms.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to be like that. Like, if I was ever getting to the point where I was getting really anxious, I'm a generally anxious guy. Like, I'm a very anxious person.
Yeah.
Still take medication every day, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I got it tattooed on my palms that I was like, if I was ever getting like to a point where I'd have to lock myself in a room, I would just like look at my hands and just go, okay, just
Stay
like,
here.
just stay here.
Be in the moment.
Yeah, because if you're stressing, 9 times out of 10, it's about something that's going to happen
Yeah.
or something that has happened. You're not
There's
really.
not much you can do about it.
Nah.
Mm.
So that's why I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're segueing sort of into the mental health space now.
Which is my favourite subject.
Great. When do you think your anxiety started?
I've always...
It's always been there?
Yeah. I'm the third child of 4. So I've got an older sister.
Yep.
Older brother.
Yep.
Me.
Yep.
Younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that I see it is the way I fit into the hierarchy, which could be completely wrong. I could be wrong in saying this, but it's the way I see it.
Yeah.
My sister's the eldest. Daddy's little girl.
Yeah, of course.
My older brother, first boy. Me, my younger brother, the baby boy.
Mm.
I kind of don't...
Fall in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that middle child syndrome thing, it's real.
Yeah, okay.
Even though there's 4 of us and I'm not technically the middle, but you know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah.
The other 2 are the firsts.
Yep.
First boy, first girl.
Mm.
Then there's me, and then there's the baby.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the way I've always seen it.
Well, there's good parts to that too. Everyone knows the youngest child is the favourite.
Yep.
Because they've got it perfect. They don't need any more children.
Yep.
And the first children are sort of like the guinea pigs. I say this as a first child. The way my parents parented me versus how they parented Tom.
Big difference.
We're going to open that discussion later at home.
It's a big difference, hey? Yeah, well, I was, my brother is 9 years older than I am.
Yeah, right.
And then my sister is 11 years older than I am.
So there's a fair gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then my younger brother's 2 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
So I guess growing up, having that big an age gap for the older ones was kind of like, I was a younger child when they were going through the mischievous years, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So going out partying and doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, 9 times, that saying when nothing good happens after midnight, I can tell you right now it's true. I've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Like stuff happening at the house, stuff happening in the street, all that sort of stuff. So I think that's where my anxiety originally started.
Gotcha.
Was just not knowing what was going on.
And are you close with your siblings?
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
My sister, yes.
Yep.
My younger brother, yes. My older brother, no.
Yeah.
Nah, he's just kind of there.
That was my next question. Is it the older siblings that you're closer with or the one that's closer in age to you?
Nah, it's like, I don't know.
They're all different people.
Yeah. Like we're all completely different people. But at the end of the day, I still can't, you can't cut people out of your life as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, so I still get anxious about what they're up to.
Yeah, right.
And I shouldn't, it's wild.
Yeah.
But I'm the 29-year-old who owns a business, has a home loan, all that sort of stuff. And I don't say this to be a smart ass or anything like that, but I am the only one of my 4 of us, my 3 other siblings, that has never been to jail.
Yeah.
And so you want to say where'd the anxiety come from? It's that.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. And
is it then anxiety or is it not empathy? I guess it could be empathy that you have for your siblings. You do care about them. It's coming from a caring place. So.
Yeah, but it's like coming from a caring place, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's also not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like I said, I used to get text messages at 1 a.m. Oh, this person's rocked up at the house and they're doing this. Oh, this person's broken into Dad's car. This person's done this. It was always like that.
People you knew.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So growing up, I used to skate a lot, ride a skateboard a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of negative things that happen at skate parks. There's a lot of positive things too, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of negative things.
Yeah.
So that would then translate into going home, and then I had nowhere really there. I could just kind of kick back and just relax.
Yeah.
Because it was like a heightened sense of anxiety at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you'd done something wrong?
No, not even necessarily that. Don't get me wrong, in high school I was a terror. I was shocking. But
what? You know,
yeah,
never.
I know what you're talking about. But I do also think that comes from having a lot of pent-up anxiety and not having the outlet for it to go to.
Of course.
I've always been the first person to say that the moment I got medicated for my anxiety was the turning point.
Yeah.
I could start to differ real from fake.
Yeah.
My psychologist, I still say a psychologist.
Yeah.
She says it the best. She's you need to focus on your life as if it's a filing cabinet and put it back in chronological order.
Yeah.
you're stressed today about something that happened 12 years ago. Put it back in the filing cabinet. There's 12 years worth of stuff in front of it
Yeah.
that has happened that have been good.
It's been better, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember I was so anxious that my wife is a saint, by the way. She's a delight. And I was playing footy one day and it was windy.
Mm.
And I was so anxious that the wind had blown the gate open, that my dog had got out,
Yeah.
that during the game, mind you, I walked over to the bench, stood there, looked up in the grandstand and said to my wife, Jamie, can you please go home and check on the dogs? And she's like, what? You're playing football. I'm like, I cannot concentrate on what I'm doing.
Mm.
I am so anxious right now about just stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. But it doesn't feel stupid at the point.
No.
It's all encompassing, and it's like, yeah, there's no way I just can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
100%.
And then she went home and actually did it, which, be it enabling or whatnot,
Yeah.
but at that moment, if she hadn't done it, I would have.
Yeah.
I would have got in
Left
the car.
footy field.
Yeah, 100%.
She probably knows that.
Yes. I would do anything just to get me out of that mind state.
Of course.
So if that meant just walking off and then going straight home to check during mid-game, I
Yeah.
would have done it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, to however I could go to fix that current issue.
Of course.
Let me do that. Yeah. It was wild.
Yeah.
It was a very tough way to kind of be brought up, if that makes sense. And that's why I stopped leaving my wife's house at the age of 17.
Yeah.
Because
It was your comfortable space.
I felt like that was the safe place. Like her mum, my mother-in-law, she's just wrote a book about like complex PTSD and all that sort
really?
of stuff. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
She's a superstar, that woman.
Yeah.
And just little things, little by little,
Yep.
every day, she would try and make me better than the person I was the day before.
Yeah.
And like that was another little turning point, I guess.
Incremental growth.
Yeah. 1% better every day.
Yep. Compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe.
Yeah, well, that's what Tony Robbins says.
And Albert Einstein.
Yeah, well, that guy too.
who kind of knows his stuff, like, you know.
You would think.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
You'd hope so. It's
Yeah.
kind of got.
So your dogs are obviously a big part of your life.
Yeah.
What are your dogs? You've got two?
So yeah, I've got two now. So I had a support dog, like I had an anxiety support dog.
Yep.
So he was a bull mastiff.
Yep.
And he was with me for 10 years. We had to get him put down just this Christmas just gone.
Yeah, right.
So he was the dog that, like, my wife and I have been together 11, near 12 years.
He'd been there the whole
He'd
time.
been there the whole time. So
Yeah.
no one prepares you for that.
No.
That was a wild experience.
Yeah.
And then I've got a 3-year-old German Shepherd,
Mm-hmm.
Lulu,
Yep.
crazy,
Yep.
and a 10-week-old German Shepherd now,
Nice.
Olaf.
Yeah.
So, of course, my daughter named him.
Yeah, of
because-
course. The snowman.
Correct. Yeah. So, and like, I said it to my wife yesterday. I spent 2 hours outside mowing the lawns, doing all that sort of stuff. Maeve's playing on the trampoline. The dogs are running around chasing each other.
Yeah.
And Jamie going for a run, come back. And I was like, this is like what life's all about.
Mm.
She's like, what? I'm like, no, seriously, like,
This is it.
this is it.
Yeah.
Like, anyone that says that, you know, living in 30 minutes away from your office, when, like, I drive 30 minutes every day to go to work.
Yes.
People are like, why would you want to do that? It's so far away. I could just bring them to that exact moment
Mm.
and just be like, this
This
is
is why.
exactly why.
Yep.
I've got,
Because it's a great spot
yeah,
where you're at.
yeah. It's
Mm.
I live on an acre. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter can ride a bike.
Yeah.
She's got her own little electric car and she drives that around.
Yeah.
And, like,
Just like her dad.
yes, just
Yeah.
like her dad.
Yeah.
She will probably get a Tesla one day.
Yeah.
I hope anyway.
So, yes, mad Tesla fan.
Yeah.
A bit on the nose at the moment.
Yeah, I
Teslas.
know, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Are you one of those Tesla owners that's, put an Audi badge on the on the
Do you
back
know
of the
what?
car?
I'm one of those Tesla owners that doesn't care so much. Like, I can. Kanye West is another great example of a person that is just so wild, and the things that he's saying
Deranged.
is
Yeah.
terrible.
Mm.
But I can differentiate that from his music,
Yeah,
so I can still listen to his music and be like, okay, person he is,
he's nuts.
he's terrible.
Yeah,
That's woeful.
yeah,
But the art that he'd done over those 30 years or 20 years is still there,
Mm.
you know?
yeah.
Like, that's the way that I see it.
Yeah, of
Because,
course.
But each to their own. Like,
And
some
Teslas are cool cars, man.
they're a great car.
Yeah,
I think this is like another little thing that I've always been big on is you can have your opinion.
Mm.
I can have my opinion. And just because they're different doesn't mean yours is wrong, doesn't mean mine's right.
yep.
But guess what? I don't have to hate you for it.
No.
You don't have to hate me for mine.
Just get in the octagon and sort it out that way. No.
No, but that was like the whole thing with COVID when that was, all the C word. Ooh,
Yeah.
gentle.
Yeah. Careful.
Well, this just got taken down.
Yeah.
But that was the whole thing. Like your views and my views could be completely different, but it didn't mean that you're any less of a person.
Yeah. Correct.
Like I still respect what you do.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time.
It was. It was.
And it's like ripple affected now.
Mm.
Don't get me wrong though. Kanye needs to pull up. Someone needs to take his
100%.
Twitter profile.
100%.
Because
Well, he took it off himself for a while, and then he was back, and it was just like, oh god, here we go again.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, like his music,
Mm.
I still listen to it.
So you're big in that music space. You like
Yeah.
the rap stuff. Who else do you listen to?
Mac Miller, he's
Yep.
like my number one.
Yep.
All day, every day.
Why is that?
I don't know. Oh, actually, I do know. I lie.
Okay.
When I first started listening to his music was about the same time all the stuff at home was going west.
Yeah.
So I could just kind of kick back and just listen to his music and kind of,
escape.
try.
Mm.
Use it as like an outlet.
Because his music sort of got that almost a mental health
Yeah.
reference in it.
Yeah. So his albums,
It's a theme.
so each album that he ever released was different to the first one.
Yeah.
The first one was party rap. Second one was a little bit more melodic. The third one was like dark and twisted.
Yeah.
Fourth one started to get onto the mental health things. Fifth, sixth, all that sort of stuff. They all changed from the
Yeah.
one before that. And that was why I liked listening to his music.
Because it was always something different.
Yeah, it was never the same.
Yeah.
It was always something different. And then, I went and got one of his songs tattooed on my knuckles, which is Self-Care.
Yeah.
Another little tidbit.
There you go.
Yeah, I got all these weird little
References.
mental health tattoos on me, like
Yeah.
Memento Mori, which is
Yeah.
Latin for remember death.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't be a terrible person because we're all going to die.
Yeah.
We're all going to end up in the same place. So while we're here, just try to be a good person.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
That's what
Yeah,
I try
right.
to do every day.
Yeah, cool. And do you still cop flack for the tattoos in real estate? Just jumping way back to the start.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every damn. That's what another thing why, I feel like
Do you
if-
like it now, though?
my tattoos or copying it.
No, copying it from people that are like, oh,
I've
yeah.
learned to just brush it off. It is
Yeah.
what it is. Like if they've got enough time to be whinging
take
about
issue.
my tattoos,
Mm.
then they're not net where I am.
Yeah.
They can go away.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like I'm copying it at the moment for fighting. Like
right.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like it don't get me wrong, like the marketplace that I'm in, there's 4 or 5 different agencies,
Yeah.
and 4 of which and I get along very harmoniously.
Mm.
I'll talk to them if there's ever an issue. They'll talk to me if there's ever an issue. It's
No
great.
issues. Yeah.
But there's one that is just loose. They just do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And they got this little thing going on at the moment that, it's unprofessional that I fight because I'll have a black eye one week and I broke my hand in one of my fights.
Yeah.
So I had a plaster on. And they even went as far as saying that I intimidate my clients to win business.
Oh,
And I was like, okay, all right, that's an interesting way to win business, my friend.
Yeah.
That's where it comes full circle to why the industry is terrible,
Yeah.
because it doesn't go on about how good,
They are.
correct. It's
Yeah.
about how bad I am.
Well, how insecure in their business must they be?
It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And where I am, I grew up there. The people that I am selling homes for,
Yeah.
selling homes to,
They know you're unprofessional. I mean, sorry.
well, 90% of them know me from when I was a little
Yeah, correct. They've
chatty
seen you
kid
grow up.
and seen me grow up.
And so there's trust
Correct.
because you've been in the community your whole life.
That's how I find out about all this interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Because keep in mind, the information that I'm telling you right now isn't just coming from someone overhearing it.
Yeah.
It is from a sit-down conversation at the table with a vendor
Yep.
and an agent,
Yep.
and the agent telling the vendor this. Then I go in there 2 weeks later to have the same conversation, and they're like, oh, that other agent said you were this, and this. That's not true at all. And I'm like, what? Where does this come from?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you're obviously pretty, not threatening. You're probably pretty dominant in the local market. Then you're doing well.
I do what I need to do
Yeah.
for my wife and daughter.
Yeah, of course.
Plain and simple.
Okay.
Like the market that I'm in, there is a lot of top agents.
Yeah.
Really good agents, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So, but it's also a large marketplace. There's a lot of
Of
people there.
course. There's a lot of movement out there.
Yes.
Hmm.
So I don't ever have those issues where I'm stepping on someone else's toes
Yeah.
to get mine. I just do what I want to do.
Yeah. There's enough
Do my
for
own thing.
everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I had this other thing, like on a Wednesday, my wife works. She's a nurse. So I take my daughter to work with me.
Yeah.
So Maeve comes to work every Wednesday.
Awesome.
And I had a client come in. I had to sign up their house to sell. Now, in the eyes of a real estate agent, that's like, oh my God, that's a critical meeting. Like that needs to be on point, professional,
100%.
this, that, the other.
You got to prep like that. You're prepping for the ring.
Yeah.
Octagon.
Yes, Octagon. This vendor came in. I'm wearing a t-shirt, jeans, boots. I had my daughter's food all down the front of me.
And she's playing on the couch.
And she was in the office. She's got her own little corner with all her toys and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the vendor came in, and guess what she did? She brought her 2 kids in too.
Yeah, there you go.
And they sat down.
Because they're real people.
Yeah.
They
That's
live in their
the
life.
whole thing. They live their life. I live mine.
Yeah.
And someone said to me, like, don't you feel like unprofessional or anything like that? And word for word, I said, listen, if a client came in here and didn't want to do work with me because of the way I was dressed just then, because of me having my daughter on a Wednesday, they're not the client that I want anyway.
Of course.
I don't want to work with a client like that because of that.
Yeah.
So I think that like family's a big thing. And when she brought her kids in too, I was just like, oh, this is a match made in heaven. This is best.
Yeah. And
And-
the family.
Exactly.
They get it.
That's exactly right. And that's what it's all about. Just being a good human being. I keep saying it because I mean it. Like, don't be terrible.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
No.
But it is hard, supposedly.
For some people.
Yeah.
For some people.
So yeah, like I said, I'm unprofessional. I'm intimidating. I'm this, that, the other.
Yeah.
And
You're right.
yeah.
And you rock up in a Tesla, which is apparently an evil car now.
Correct. Yeah. That's a terrible car. I just do some terrible things.
Yeah. You listen to Kanye.
Yep.
Cool.
That's bad. It is what it is. It's like I was listening to a podcast this morning and they were talking about Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
But how crazy.
Yeah.
But was his movies great?
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you've got to black ban every one of his movies? You can't watch any of those movies because he was a terrible person?
Well, because it's like I'm watching a movie and his name will pop up and I'll just be like, oh,
Didn't even know he was in it.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that he produced it.
Did
Yeah.
not
it's
even
like,
know he had anything to do with
okay,
it.
cool.
Yeah.
And it's like that moment of, yeah, right, he did this one.
Yeah.
But it's like you're not going to not watch the movie.
No. It's like Quentin Tarantino makes some of the best films ever. He's a nutcase.
It's a weird unit.
He's as weird as the day's long.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
Well, there's a couple of things that people just, people bring up often, like how he's the one who says he's cast himself in the role that, drunk alcohol off Salma Hayek's foot or whatever.
Yeah.
And, he said he cast himself as, what was the one in Django? Where, like, obviously Django Unchained said the N-word more than any other movie ever.
Yes.
And he had a role in that where he would rip that one out of
A
often.
lot of white people in that movie said that word.
And it's like, how do you get away with that?
But correct me if I'm wrong, great movie.
Oh, great movie. 100%.
Unbelievable movie.
And obviously it's true to the era.
Correct.
But yeah, it's like if anyone recognized that was, well, I mean, they all recognize that it's his work. So he's put that in there. So
Yep.
it's like, is that questions raised? Not yet,
But they're coming.
but they're coming.
Hot take, I think that's one of his best movies.
Yeah, Django.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
great movie.
I have a lot of like pop culture hot takes,
Yeah.
like around other.
Run me through some of them.
All right. Mr. Brightside is not the Killer's best song.
No. It's When You Were Young.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know why anyone disagrees.
I can't believe we just.
That's it.
That was great.
That is the one.
song. That's my favorite song.
I Miss You by Blink-182 is
Yeah.
not their best song.
won't
I
guess.
believe Stay Together for the Kids.
Yeah,
that
right.
song's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Goes through.
Yeah.
American Idiot
Yeah.
by Green Day. No.
No.
Jesus Suburbia.
Right.
Yes.
There you go.
Hot takes.
These are very good.
Hot takes.
Okay.
And the best Harry Potter,
Is.
Chamber of Secrets.
Oh, okay.
It's where it starts to go dark.
Yeah, right.
It starts to go dark.
I would have said. Geez, I don't know.
My wife's Order of the Phoenix. She loves the Order of the
I
Phoenix.
think I'm Half Blood Prince.
Valid.
Goblet of
point.
Fire.
Goblet of Fire starts to tell the story.
Yeah.
But
And really brutally too.
yes. Oh,
Because of
brutal.
Cedric.
Yes. He gets killed.
Yeah.
He gets
Spoiler alert.
unalived.
Whoa.
He gets unalived.
Yeah, correct.
But not like, yeah, I have all these funny little things.
Yeah.
Same thing. People are like, no way. And they argue it to the point. I'm like, whoa.
It's the most overplayed song.
Whoop up.
That one song is just so
The
overplayed.
Brightside sucks. I can't stand that song.
I wouldn't go that far, but it's definitely overplayed.
If you walk past Beeves Bar at midnight,
Yeah.
every Saturday.
And they're
It's
all
been
shrieking
played
it. Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
You walk past that same song's on.
Well, I mean, everyone knows it.
I know.
That's probably what they want.
I get it. But like
But it's when you were young.
when you were young,
Far better
I
song.
reckon-
That guitar riff, man, so good.
it just hits.
Yeah.
I reckon at my wedding, I said to my wife, "All right, Mr. Brightside is not on the playlist."
Yeah.
She's like, "What?" I'm like, "No, it's not. Take it off right now."
What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, it sucks.
Yeah, I'm like, not happening.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't even know what other hot takes I've got. I've just got so many.
Is it movies and music, or is there other ones?
Nah, it's always movies and music.
Yeah.
Always movies.
So what's the greatest movie of all time in your eyes?
I really, really like American Gangster.
Yeah?
Yep.
That's a good one.
New Jack City,
Mm-hmm.
pretty good movie with Wesley Snipes,
Yeah.
and Shutter Island.
Yeah, right.
But Shutter Island's one of those films you can only watch twice
Yeah.
because you watch it the first time, and then the plot twist at the end, and you're like, "Whoa!" Now I need to watch it again from that perspective,
Mm.
and then once you've watched it from that perspective, it's kind of you can't watch it again because
You've seen both options.
You've seen
Yeah,
both options. So it's like one of those only movies I've ever watched that is completely different the second time around.
Yeah, right. And surely you've seen Harry Potter, you've seen Lord of the Rings?
Never.
Never.
No. I
So
know.
you've never seen the greatest movie series of all time?
Oh, don't you dare. I was such a Harry Potter diehard
Yeah, right.
that I was like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Okay.
Plus, growing up, we didn't have like Foxtel and all that sort of stuff.
Of course.
So
Can't just on demand it.
I could not watch it. No, I didn't know. Like if it was on a Saturday night on Channel 10, I could.
Yeah.
But there was ads and I was like,
Ads are a killer, man.
they were terrible.
Netflix has ads now.
Does it?
On the lowest plan,
Oh,
which I am on. Full disclosure.
you need to get in real estate.
Still on my grind,
Might
man.
go up
Still
to
growing. Okay.
mid-tier.
Yeah. But yeah, we were watching a Netflix show and then all of a sudden they hit us with ads. And Jen's like, my partner, she's just, what are we paying for?
Wow.
I said ads, apparently.
My daughter's got this funny thing. She loves watching YouTube.
Yeah.
And when an ad comes on the shows that she's watching, she goes, "Oh no, Daddy, something happened. It broken."
Aw.
And I'm like, "No, Maeve.
It's
It's just
okay.
ads.
Yeah.
This is what Daddy grew up with."
Yeah, this is normal for
And
us.
she just can't fathom it. She's like, "Why are we
right.
watching this?
Yeah,
Why are
right.
we watching people talk about other stuff?"
Yeah, Claritine and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, though. But don't get me wrong. I have this joke with my wife. We've been to America 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
When I go to America, watching the ads over there is my favorite thing to do
Yeah.
because they'll have medication ads
Yeah.
back to back.
Yeah, right.
And at the end of them, they have, I don't know, it must be their legislation. They
Full
have
disclosure.
they have to disclose every issue that could arise.
Side effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And every single one of them ends with or death. And it's just it's hilarious.
Catch all.
We're watching the Super Bowl and there's ads for some of the most outlandish. There was a Kanye ad
Yeah.
where he was sitting there in
Who
a
just
dentist
filmed
chair.
himself?
Yep, on an iPhone.
I got new teeth.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's an ad like 2-3 minutes later and it was for some erectile dysfunction medication.
Yeah.
And it
kill you.
can cause death. Yeah, of course. It's like wild. It's
People
wild.
will still take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. Well, yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny. Those ads get me every time.
Right. So back a bit. Other great movies.
Yeah.
Have you seen Star Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Ranking? It's up there, surely?
It's up there. Yeah. It's up there.
I think you would like Lord of the Rings, man.
Everyone keeps saying this to me.
It's like
But-
Harry Potter. Harry Potter is one of those films where, and Star Wars too, all these films where it's clear good and evil.
Where do I fit it though?
Well,
In my schedule, where do I fit it?
you said to me that you weren't going to let real estate dominate your life.
Hey, I'm not. But right now, MMA and my daughter is.
Let Lord of the Rings dominate your life for 9 hours for the extended cut.
I tried yesterday to start watching Yellowstone. I know. And my wife's like, this is boring.
Really?
And I said, Jamie, are you aware that like people go on about this being the best show ever?
It's incredible.
And she's like, I don't care. This first 40 minutes of it's boring.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like,
It's the
okay,
introduction.
it is what it is. I'm like, so we don't have time.
Yeah, right.
We don't have time.
There you go.
What's the greatest film franchise in your mind?
In my mind, it's Star Wars or Lord of the Rings.
See, mine isn't even Harry Potter.
Yeah, right. Which one's yours?
Scream.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Scream.
Well, it's funny.
Scream rewrote the genre of horror. I love horror movies.
Yeah.
When my wife used to work night shift, when my daughter was like 1, I would put her to bed, I'd sit on the couch, and I'd watch a horror movie every Friday night.
Really?
Yeah, by myself with a bowl of pasta.
Yep.
Dogs on the couch with me.
Yep.
Don't tell my wife. And we were just watching a horror movie every single
Yeah, it's
Friday.
okay. This isn't recorded. It's all
Nah.
good. She'll never find out.
She won't. And I just used to love watching horror movies.
Yeah, right.
And I love horror movies that are based around Catholicism,
Yeah, right.
like The Nun and all that sort of
Yeah, yeah. So did you watch the recent Russell Crowe one, which was the Pope's Exorcist?
No, but I've heard that that's
Apparently
really
it's
good.
really good.
Yes. That's, I think, one of the next ones on my to-do list.
Yeah.
Because I'll sit there and watch them and like dissect them mentally myself.
Are you Catholic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Only recently,
Yeah.
as wild as that sounds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Run me through that.
Crazy
Yeah.
politics and religion.
Yeah, the two subjects.
The two subjects
Yeah.
that people say don't talk about.
There's only one more that we won't get to. It's okay. We won't go there.
No, it was literally like I grew up going to Catholic primary school,
Yeah.
done all that sort of stuff, and then just kind of fell away.
Mm-hmm.
But then recently, when I was in America, like I said, I try to do things that are going to make me happy every day.
Yeah, you like to experience things.
Yeah. And I also like to try find ways that are going to make you happy and see if they will work in my life.
Yeah.
So while I was in America, much to what the news has discussed, a lot of people over there are happy.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people are happy.
Yeah.
And
where were you in America?
California,
Yeah, right.
the one that's like, statistically speaking, the least happy
There
because
you
they're all
go.
buried in debt.
Yeah.
And the common denominator was religion.
Yeah,
They
right.
were all just
Find light.
yeah.
Mm.
So I think that I was like, oh, maybe there's something to this.
Yeah.
And this is another little thing. Like everyone, when I got back and I was like, I'm even listening to the Bible in my car.
Yeah.
Everywhere I drive right now, that's what I'm listening
Well,
to.
you might like this. Johnny Cash does the Gospels
Oh, no.
on YouTube,
Oh,
and it's free,
That's wild.
and it's so cool. And he starts the Gospel according to John,
Oh, no.
and it's so good.
All right, I'm going to have to listen.
So you have to listen.
That'll be top tier.
Even if you're not religious, it's just great to hear Johnny Cash read the Bible.
Hey, I'm
Makes
going
it
to get on
interesting.
that. That'll be top tier.
That's top tier.
But like, this is another little thing that people are like, oh, here we go. And he's listening to the Bible. He's doing this. I'm like, hey, it does me each day.
Mm.
If it doesn't do, that's fine. I
Yeah,
don't care.
correct.
I'm not going to sit here and go,
Live and let live.
you need to do this.
Yeah,
I don't care.
yeah,
It works for what I want to do.
correct.
Makes me
And
feel
that's
that little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, regardless of if I had this conversation with someone the other day, it was crazy. It's like, you know, the Big Bang Theory and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So if you want to go, is that like evolution theory? I think it's
yeah. Theory of evolution.
yeah. So if you go that and then the theory of God,
Yeah,
they're both as outlandish as each other when you think about it.
yeah.
Which one is actually going to bring you a little bit more light to your day every day?
Yeah, correct.
That one.
There's
So I'm like,
there's someone out there that's looking after you and wants to have a relationship with you and is interested in you.
correct.
Or there was a massive explosion. We were lizards, now we're people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, it is what it is.
And it is unfair to describe both of those things the way I just did.
Yeah, but it's true though.
but
They're
it's
both
like-
as crazy as each other.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, for me, I'm like, okay, well, my day to day is going to get that little bit easier.
Yeah, correct.
If I believe that it's for a certain reason,
Mm.
not just because something
What's a
blew up.
purpose outside of yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like another little thing, I don't look like I'd be a religious individual.
No.
I don't look like I'd be a real
In
estate
fact,
agent.
way back when, I think, yeah, you don't look like a real estate agent, definitely. I think way back when we did have the discussion around religion, you were just flat. No.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah, whatever.
So that really surprised me.
Yeah.
But
And that's only like 3 months ago.
yeah,
2 or 3
awesome,
months
man.
ago.
Awesome.
It's crazy.
That's really cool.
And it catches a lot of people off guard.
Yeah,
Nah,
definitely.
here we go. Another little Bible basher. I'm like, nope.
No, it's live and let live. It works for me. Doesn't have to work for you.
Exactly right.
100%. That's great.
Yeah.
So when did that, like, what caused that? Was it just the America thing?
Yeah.
Was there a particular instance of something that happened in America? Were you chatting to somebody?
So this is where things like the reason why I was so dead against it
Mm.
was so for anyone that doesn't know, my nephew was 11, got caught in a house fire and passed away.
Yeah.
I always said, how could there be a God that
If that
allows
happened.
that?
Yeah.
Because that was like
Horrid.
woeful.
Mm.
Woeful. And I always said, how could there be a God if that was allowed?
Yeah.
And my wife and I sat down and tried to work out, like, we were just like, what if there was a God, what possible reason could that be?
Yeah.
And the only way that I can feel that little bit better about it is I'm like, okay, he was about to go to year 7
Mhm.
high school. What comes with that? Coming of age, a lot
Yeah.
of bullying, you know, you form new friendships, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
You don't know the person they were and who they're going to be.
Of course.
Those years are going to be really testing
Tough.
for that person. Yeah. So him and I had a lot of conversations around like he was only 11, like I said, and he was already talking about like anxiety and mental health and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. So that's the only way that I could sit back and be like, okay, maybe it happened to save him those years of that.
Yeah.
I could like I said, it's just that little
Yeah.
justification, not
Like,
justification.
We don't know why.
Yeah, but
Mm.
that little bit. So that's what kind of another little thing where I was like, okay, maybe that's the reasoning behind
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I was always dead against it up until this year.
Of course.
And that happened 2 years ago.
Yeah. I remember I saw the article on the news where there was the house fire in Lara. It was around Christmas.
Mm.
And I'm like, geez, that's...
December 19th.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 3 days after my birthday.
Yep.
I was up in Queensland and I'm like, geez, I really hope it's not anyone that I know. And that's terrible. It's like comes from a selfish place of like, I hope it's not somebody in my network, but it's a terrible thing to happen regardless. And yeah, then when I heard, I was gutted.
Do you want to know what the wild process of what transpired that morning? This blows people's mind.
Yeah.
This period of thing. Remember how I said before I had a support dog?
Yeah.
So I got woken up at 2:30 in that morning.
Yeah.
My wife said to me, she was pregnant with our daughter, Maeve, and she said, Matthew, I haven't felt the baby kick in quite some time.
Yeah.
I'm stressed.
Yeah.
Righto. Private health, we're paying for it. Let's go.
Yeah.
We drive to the hospital, get everything all checked out. Everything's all as it should be.
Yeah.
We're driving home. It's 4:30, 4:45 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We get home. Jamie goes, all right, I'm going to go to bed. I said, I'm just going to sit on the couch, watch TV,
Yeah.
and kick back with the dogs. No worries. Now I get inside, turn the TV on. It was like not like Jackass, but it was one of their little offshoot documentaries explaining the life and times of, I think it was Bam Margera.
Yeah, right.
And I let the dogs in. Now, as I'm watching this show, the dogs are annoying me.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
They don't usually.
they don't. They will just get inside. It's early as in the morning. They'll just lay down as if nothing happened and just be
go
chill.
back to sleep.
Yeah. No. The shepherd was like sitting on my lap and I'm laying on the couch. I'm like, Lulu, get off.
Yeah.
No. I keep getting her off. She'd jump back up. Malcolm, this is the crazy thing. My Mastiff, the support dog, he rested his head in between my neck.
Yeah.
As I'm lying there watching TV, he just put his head here.
Yeah.
And I was like, Malcolm, what are you doing? Go away. I'm telling these dogs, get out. Go. Would not
They
listen.
wouldn't leave you alone.
Now, he listened to me to a fault. He would do whatever.
Yeah. And he's not listening to you now.
Wouldn't. So I carried them out. I put them outside, shut the door, got back on the couch, watching TV. Now, people say that, like, you can believe what you want, but everything I'm saying right now is as true as the day's long.
Yeah.
I'm back watching TV after all that stuff's happening with the dog. And it was Bam Margera's mum
Yeah.
talking about how Ryan Dunn's death impacted her son.
Yeah.
And all she said was he had this life that was going to end in a fiery crash.
Yeah.
The second that sentence finished up, my phone rings.
Oh, shit.
No word of a lie. And I'm like, my facial expressions don't do it any justice. This
Yeah.
was the creepiest time of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
It's now 7:30 in the morning.
Mm.
That sentence is finished. I've just kicked the dogs out. My phone rings. It's my dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's too early in the morning. No, I'll answer it.
Yeah.
I'll answer it. And I answered it and I'll never forget it. He just said, there's been an accident. Your nephew's gone.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, what? He's like, you need to come. There's been a fire. Whatever.
Far out.
So those little things all happened in the span of 5 hours.
Yeah.
My daughter,
Yeah.
the dogs,
The dogs.
the TV thing, and then that.
phone.
Wild, hey?
That's crazy.
And like the craziest thing about it is could have all been averted.
Mm.
Could have all been avoided
Yep.
had the smoke alarms been working.
Yep.
That's it.
Mm.
A cigarette butt, started fire with flannelette sheets.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep.
That was it. Smoke alarms, batteries hadn't been checked since I think they worked it out was early 2000.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So luckily, my nephew Braxton,
Yep.
his younger brother,
Yep.
he was able to get out of the house.
Yep.
But yeah, Elijah wasn't so lucky.
Mm.
But the only side of it that did make anything feel that little bit better, his cause of death was smoke inhalation.
Yeah.
So didn't die in the painful, brutal
Yeah.
way that it would
Would have
seem.
otherwise happened.
Correct, yes.
100%.
But all that happened.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So, and that's what I've always said. And like,
Was there a feeling when the phone rang that you needed to answer it?
Yep.
Or were you actually going to dismiss it?
no. I was 100%, I was not answering it.
Yeah.
I was like, it is too early in the morning.
And then you just like, hang on a second.
I just answered it.
Yeah.
I would have been like, oh, I'll call him back later on.
Yeah.
I think I muttered to myself, I'll just call him back later on. And then it only rang 3 times.
Mm.
And I'm like, no, I'll just answer it. And I just answered it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was the same thing, not quite the same situation, but my grandfather died 70-something years to the day. I can't remember it now off the top of my head. But he died and on his birthday, which was Australia Day. And my mum called me in the morning and I was, out of it because I was asleep still.
Yep.
And I look at it and I'm like, it's Mum. Do I? And then the same thing. It was like I need to answer the phone.
Yep.
And I answer the phone and she's crying. And I'm like, okay, what's happened? And yeah, Pop was gone.
Wild, hey?
It's insane. Just that feeling that you know that you need to answer the phone. It was there and yeah.
My phone rings anywhere from 50 to 60 times a day.
I can imagine.
For some reason, that phone call
Felt different.
felt like, it was like I was getting electrocuted.
Yeah.
And the only way to stop that was to answer
the
it.
phone.
Yeah. But it was wild. All
Yeah.
that just happened at the same time.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Far out. All right. So technical difficulties. We just had a little bit of a break there. Mics are all good still. They're all working. Yep. Great. Cool. Awesome. Well, in the break, we were just chatting about your most recent fight. And we're jumping back to UFC.
Yep.
And MMA and all that stuff.
Yes.
What was running through your mind when those other guys were injured?
I didn't think it was that serious.
Yeah.
The first one of the night as well, I was out there. So I actually, I was media away from it. I saw it happen.
Yeah.
And that looked like he just collapsed from pure exhaustion.
Yeah.
Which I think later on was probably the case.
Yeah.
But he ended up being diagnosed with something called rhabdomyolysis.
Yeah.
Which is breakdown of the muscle tissue into
Really
your
serious.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he actually passed away as a result of that.
Oh, wow.
So I believe it was nothing to do with the fight, obviously.
Yeah.
It's an overtraining issue.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'd heard about rhabdo, but
Never seen it.
never looked into it and been
Yeah.
like, oh, but now, oh my God.
Front of mind.
Yeah, because, and it's sad that something like that has to happen for that to become front of mind. Correct. Because we all go through muscle soreness.
Yeah.
We all go through dehydration.
Yeah.
Like the symptoms might not seem full
That
on.
bad.
Nah.
Mm.
But yeah, he was 21.
Far out.
And yeah, and then the second one, he's got a 2-year fight suspension now,
Yeah.
medical suspension.
That's the one that helped a flying kick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then convulsed for like quite a lot of time.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, I could be wrong, but a lot of it does come down to the weight cut.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, the first place to dehydrate is your brain.
Yeah.
So the fluid around your brain takes the longest to rehydrate.
Recover. Yeah.
So hypothetically speaking, there's less cushioning should something go wrong.
Yeah, right.
So weight cutting is a big issue in the sport.
So how is that rooted out? How do you fix that?
So ONE FC in Japan, I believe, and a few other promotions have what's called hydration testing.
Yeah.
So you do your weigh in. Yep. Say you make weight. Cool. Then you get tested later on before the fight and they test your hydration levels. So if you're, say for argument's sake, like me, cutting 7 or 8 kilos,
Yeah.
my hydration would drop quite a fair chunk.
Mm.
I wouldn't pass a hydration test.
Right.
So I might, I don't know, I've never had to do one. But so in Japan and stuff like that, they've kind of tried to eradicate weight cutting because there has been people that have died. There's been people that have So a lot of people will weight cut in a bath and they'll lay in a bath anywhere from 39 to 42 degrees and up to the neck of water and just sweat. So instead of, I do sauna, some people do bath. But there's been people that have been in the bath for that 20 minutes, sweat, got out, slipped, hit their head on the sink and passed away. So that's happened as well.
Far out.
There's people that have been in the sauna for too long and overheated and, not been able to make the fight. It is quite a grueling process to the weight cut, the water cut especially. So, but unless everyone agrees, it's going to keep.
There's going to be people that, do it just to try and make sure that they've got that edge.
Like I said, I walk around at 82 kilos.
Yeah.
If I fight right now at 82 kilos, the person that I'm fighting is going to walk into the cage probably 10 kilos heavier than I am.
Yeah, right.
At least 10
Because you
kilos.
can put the water weight back on
Correct.
quick.
So if I don't want to cut weight and I fight at middleweight, say, which is 83.9, I'm going to get eaten.
Yeah.
I'm going to get eaten.
So what are the weight classes? This is really basic low-level stuff.
Yep.
But if anybody's still listening that doesn't know, the weight classes, how does it work?
So in MMA, boxing, most martial arts is different.
Yeah.
But we'll go for MMA.
Of course.
So the main ones that I care about, because I'm nowhere near the smaller ones, 135, 145. Well, 145 pounds is 66 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes 155 pounds, which is 70 kilos.
Yep.
And this is where things get dicey. It's a 7 kilo jump to the next weight class, which is welterweight. So from lightweight to welterweight, it goes 70 kilos to 77 kilos.
Right.
That's a big chunk of weight.
Yeah.
Then from welterweight to middleweight is another 7 kilos.
Right.
So it goes to 83.9 to middleweight.
Mm.
So if you walk around at 82 kilos, you're hypothetically speaking going to want to fight at welterweight even.
Yeah.
That's even probably going to be too big. So the weight classes, there needs to be probably more of them. It's a good thing like local leagues and stuff like I'm in, we're doing like super lightweight. So instead of doing 70 kilos for lightweight, we're doing 74 kilos.
Gotcha.
So it gives you that 4 kilo
it
buffer.
just dices it down a little
Correct,
bit.
yeah, because that 7 kilos is
It's a big difference. If you come into the bottom end of that, then you've got a significant disadvantage.
My next fight is at 70.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and make lightweight for the first time ever.
Yeah, right.
Mm.
And if how does it work when you come in overweight on the day? Is there a chance that you have to
They
fix
give you 2
it?
hours. So you've got 2 hours to make weight.
out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
some people
Sort of
be
goes
like,
against all that stuff around,
Safety.
weight cutting. Yeah, safety.
some people are like, get in the sauna, just sweat.
Yeah, right.
But some people get to a certain point. If you don't start early enough, you won't sweat.
Yeah.
So if you don't water load effectively, if you don't drop the carbs and sodium, you won't sweat. So you'll sit in a sauna and just overheat. You will not sweat.
Yeah, you just
There'll be
feel
no
you just
sweat
feel
coming out of your
rubbish.
system.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. So for some people, it becomes near impossible. There's nothing that's going to happen.
And so then the fight's called off.
It's up to the opponent. So, and it also depends. Like I've seen people miss weight by 1 kilo.
And they're just
2
like,
kilos is dicey.
Yeah, yeah.
If you miss it by 2 kilos, you've done something wrong.
yeah.
But 1 kilo, normally they're like, all right, let's go chat to your opponent.
See if they're okay with it.
And sometimes they'll put a stipulation on it and be like, okay, like the last fight, there was someone that came in 4 kilos heavy. That's terrible. That never should happen.
Yeah, right.
So
Totally undisciplined.
what they said was, okay, we'll still take the fight, but tomorrow you've got to be less than a certain weight. So they only let him put on another 4 kilos.
Oh, okay.
So that dude cut down to say, he was meant to fight at 70.
Yep.
He made 74.
Yep.
And they said, right, we will take the fight as long as tomorrow, before the fight, you weigh no more than 78 kilos.
Yeah, right.
Now, that dude normally walks around at 83 kilos.
So it's
He was still 5
disadvantage.
kilos, 5 kilos dehydrated, hypothetically. He lost straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Far out.
Mm-hmm. It is a wild sport.
That's crazy.
Mm.
Is there not just, can't you just have your natural weight be, and I know natural weight is a totally different kettle of fish,
Yeah.
but can you not just like get rid of that dehydration and that cutting and that sort of stuff and just fight where you're at?
That's what a lot of people talk about doing.
Yeah.
But unless every single person agrees
Does
to it,
Then it's
there's
not
always
gonna
going to be that one person that wants to get that advantage.
happen. Yeah.
And when so weight cutting is essentially sanctioned cheating. That's
Yeah.
all it is. You are,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Like I'm weighing in at 70 kilos for my next fight.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I'll be 70 kilos for a whole of 15 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
My last fight, I weighed in at 74 kilos.
Yep.
And by the time I stood back on the scales to take the photo with my opponent, which was 25 minutes later, I was already 77. So 3 kilos heavier in 25 minutes.
How do you put on weight that quick?
Rehydrating.
Yeah, right.
So just electrolytes, rehydrating, get it back in the system.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're not just out the back smashing big
No,
bags.
no, you can't eat. Your digestive
eat.
system gets turned off.
Yeah.
So you'll just feel terrible.
You're in ketosis, almost.
I don't know. It's too big a
Whatever it
word
is.
for me.
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, like, now more than ever, steroids
Yeah?
are, becoming very prevalent.
Do they actually help?
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I know.
They're just becoming more used.
Yeah. So I've competed against people in jiu-jitsu that are openly on steroids, and it's scary.
Yeah.
There's an unfair advantage in that side of things. But unfortunately, it costs too much money to test for these things.
Yeah.
It costs more than the fight makes, so they're not going to test.
level, they won't test.
Not even at some pro levels.
Really?
No, at some pro levels, they will say there's testing, but they won't test. No way.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
You're right.
because I don't know how much it costs to do a blood screen and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine it to be cheap because it would have to be for a private reason, not
Yeah.
not
very
just.
thorough.
Yeah, you can't just go to a GP and be like, okay, run me for this, this, and this. It's a full blood panel.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it would be expensive.
Mm.
But you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
You can tell the difference.
So something else that we were discussing in the break was that you see yourself as more street smart than book smart.
Yeah.
What do you see as the main difference between the two, and how do you think you've become so street smart?
I was forced to become street smart.
Yeah.
Like I said, growing up, lower socioeconomic and all that sort of stuff. I remember I worked a job at a cafe, $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Now, that $10 was my lunch money for school that day.
Right.
So I would have to get up, go to work, start at 7 till 8, walk to the bus stop, 8:25, off to school with $10.
Yeah.
That $10 was my lunch money for the day. That
Yeah.
1 hour I worked every morning was to fund my
Lunch.
Yeah, every day. So I developed pretty quickly that I had to find ways to make money.
Mm.
So you can read all the books you want,
Yeah.
but sometimes to put it into practical, it's not there.
And do you read at all, or are you more of an audiobook guy, or?
I can't read.
Yeah, right.
As crazy as that sounds, I'll try and the words just merge.
Yeah, right.
I'll read a book, get to the bottom of the page, and then have to go back to the top because I've forgotten what it's said.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Mm.
So I don't know if
Yeah.
that's ADHD, if that's more, I don't know.
Something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, right.
There's a lot going on between these ears.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can tell.
There's a lot, but not a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So from a very young age, you were very driven around making sure that you were financially secure.
I sold cans of Coke at school. That was that $10. I would want to find how I could make that $10 into 20.
Yeah.
And I would then find out how I could make that 20 into 40.
Yeah.
So I would start with $10. I would go down and buy a 12-pack of Coke.
Yeah.
And I'd sell them for $2 each.
Yeah.
$24. And then as of that $24 that I've just made, I could then go and buy 30-pack cans.
Mm.
And I could start making some real money.
Do the same thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I was even selling, like, I'd go to the Filipino grocers.
Yeah.
And I'd buy a box of migraine.
Yeah, right.
40 packets for $10.99.
There you go.
And I'd sell them for $1 each.
Yeah, right.
That was the real money, mate.
Yeah, that was the hustle. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So all through school, all through your youth, you've been finding alternative ways to make money.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's been your best business idea
That
aside from real estate?
that can of Coke.
That can of Coke.
Can of Coke and
Yeah.
migraine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when I was going to high school, you could only buy juice boxes and up and goes.
Oh, that's boring.
I don't know about you, or water. I never drank water as a kid.
Yeah, right.
Now I drink too much of it. but
Yeah.
I never
Yeah,
drank water.
7 litres.
7 litres. But I'd go to school and people would be like, oh, man, I'd love a can of Coke right now. And I'm like,
I got you.
I know a guy. I got the commissary.
Yeah.
So we'd go to my locker.
There you go.
I'd open the lock and here we go.
Yeah. It's
Everything
your own little
there.
shop front.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
How cool.
And like, even now in real estate, people that I've put on and come to work with me,
Yeah.
we have this thing. It's like, okay, how much money did you make last year? Now, keep in mind, this is only if the financial goal is their goal for real
Of course.
estate.
Yeah, yeah.
If they want to just have a cool life and do all that fun stuff, then that's great. You do you. But if you want to make bulk money and that's your driver, like, let's work it out, like what I'm about to explain. So I'd go, okay, how much money did you make last year? Round figures. Let's say they made $100,000.
Yep.
And I'd say, okay, so did you have any time off? Oh, no, I worked.
The whole time.
Had a whole year. I took 2 weeks off at Christmas.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool. So let's hypothetically say you worked 50 weeks and earn $100,000. How can we make that $100,000 in 30 weeks?
Yeah, right.
And we'd reverse engineer it.
Mm.
So I reverse engineer everything from my own business.
Yep.
For everyone that works in my office, I will sit down for hours and reverse engineer how we can then do that for everyone else. So say you've got an income goal. Okay, that income goal is X amount of sales. Okay, now statistically speaking, X amount of sales comes from X amount of listings. X amount of listings comes from X amount of appraisals. X amount of appraisals comes from X amount of calls, letterbox drops, door knocking, all that sort of that stuff. So I would reverse engineer it all the way down to say, okay, you want to earn $100,000. How do we do that? 25 calls a day, 10 door knocks, 100 letterbox drops.
Yep.
And I would say, do that every day. And statistically speaking, by process, you're going to make it.
Yeah, of course.
And you're going to do it in that time.
Yep.
So that's the way that's when my street smarts kind of came over the top, because you read a real estate book, it says you've got to grind, you've got to hustle, everyone's got to know.
But it doesn't tell you how.
No. It just says get in everyone's face.
Yeah.
Don't get in people's faces. People don't like that. Just be a human being. Do your 9 to 5, do what you need to do. And Pitbull said it best. If you chase something, it'll run.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Worldwide, he knows what he's talking about. So if you chase money, it's going to run.
Yeah.
If you chase listings, they're going to run.
Yeah.
So I'm a great example of it. I'm like, hey, I know that if I do the right thing here, it will be there.
Down the track.
Correct. I know it'll be there.
Yep.
So if I do the right thing today, I have a goal every day at work. I can leave the office at 11 o'clock in the morning if I want to. If I get in at 9, I can leave at 10 if I want to, based on if I've done the following.
Yeah.
Obviously, all my tasks that need to be done, complete. But if I've either got an appraisal, got a listing, got a sale, or got a price drop.
Yeah.
That's it. If I haven't hit one of those 4 things, it'll be a social media post.
Yeah.
So my goal is something today to make my tomorrow that little bit easier.
Yeah.
Because then by the time Friday rolls on and we're doing open homes on Saturday, I've done 4 days worth of 1%ers to make Saturday as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's the easiest way for me. Like I said, I can't read, so I'll try reverse engineer things into easier steps.
So when are you releasing your book?
Oh, no way. My mother-in-law just did that, and I tell you right now, the amount of work that I've seen that woman put in is unbelievable.
It's a lot.
Yeah, she just did they just raised over $100,000 with Lifeline and stuff for the book launch and all that sort of stuff. It was huge.
How good.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It's too much.
She wants to come on the podcast, I don't know.
I'll tell her because she'll be down.
Yeah.
But I'm not organised. Marja, my assistant, I don't even say she's my assistant. We just work together.
Yeah, yeah.
She is the brains. She does everything and I just kind of show up and talk.
Yeah.
Without her, I fall apart. So right now I'm sitting here, I can feel my phone vibrate and I'm like, okay, that's an email from Marja. Yep, that's Marja doing this. Yep, that's Marja doing this. She's got everything covered at home.
Awesome.
Back at the office, she's got me going.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good.
Awesome.
It's good value.
Well, I'm going to move quickly into a little quick fire thing that I like to do at the end of every podcast.
Fire away, Captain.
I've just got to think of what are the best questions for me to ask you. Favorite person you've ever worked with?
Not you.
Oh.
Do you know what?
Brutal.
This is going to be a polarizing one.
Yeah.
Daniel Hayes.
Yep.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
He was instrumental in how I reverse engineered things.
Yeah.
That was his main thing that he showed me.
Yeah.
People love him, people hate him. But when it comes to business and how he got to where he was,
he switched on.
You don't get to where he was. As of the 1st of April, he's no longer with Hayes Winkle.
Yep.
He's sailing the seas.
Yep.
You don't get to where he is and was without that drive and determination that I was talking about.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Favorite thing about Australia?
It's a cheap flight to the US.
So favorite country would be America then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a theme park nerd.
Yeah, right.
Love my theme parks.
Favorite theme park?
Disneyland.
Yeah.
The original.
The original.
Disney California.
Yep.
For nostalgic purposes.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Walt Disney World in Florida is bigger, better, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to walk in the steps that Walt Disney did, you can't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
So we took Maeve, my daughter, there for her second birthday.
Love it.
Well, I say second birthday. She was two weeks ago, and we took her a month ago because I'm a bit of a tight ass. And if she was 2, she had to pay for the airfare and she had to pay for the tickets to Disneyland.
Fair enough.
So I said, no, we'll go now, and she's free.
Just a smart businessman. Yeah. Favorite Disney film?
Oh, I love Moana.
Yeah?
I love Moana.
More of a recent one then?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, love Moana.
Okay. And favorite classic?
Do you know what? Peter Pan's pretty sick.
Yeah, I love
Peter Pan's pretty cool.
Love Peter Pan.
Peter Pan's pretty cool.
Absolute classic. Okay. And just throw a political one in there. Favorite US president?
Can I plead the fifth? No.
Yeah. Yes, you can.
I don't even know, because when it comes to politics,
You're not interested.
I don't let it captivate me in a way that I'm like, oh, this person was better than this person.
Yeah.
Each person that has done their form of any politics has brought something good to the table, I would imagine. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I would imagine Biden brought things to the table that someone else might not have.
Mm.
You know, Obama brought things to the table. Trump might. You don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, each individual person brings their own
fifth.
sort of thing.
Yeah. You sure you're not a politician? That was the most political answer I think I've ever heard.
No, if I was a politician, I'd be saying they're all shit except me.
No, awesome. Where can people find you? Where are they best going to connect with you?
Instagram.
Yep.
My Instagram is a breeding ground for everything that I do mental health wise.
Yep.
How I get to where I'm at every day.
Yep.
And
what's your handle?
At the Matt Ward.
Yep.
It's been the same since I was 16.
Forever. Yep.
Forever since I was 16.
Nice.
So that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. You got a lot on your plate,
Never
but
too busy.
thank you very much for making the time for me.
I appreciate it.
And hope everybody enjoyed this. Any last words? That sounded really threatening, didn't it?
Yeah, I know. I was like, damn, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
2nd of May.
2nd of May is your next fight.
Yep, Ascension MMA.
Awesome. And where will that be? In Melbourne?
Yep, Melbourne Pavilion.
Awesome.
Link will be in my Instagram shortly.
I'll reshare that one. Awesome.
Let's get it.
Sweet. Thank you very much again.
No,
I
thank
appreciate
you.
you being here. Thanks very much, everyone. Appreciate you. See you next time.